I caught my wife of 5 years cheating on me on camera for months. As an anniversary gift, I served her divorce papers. Now I'm sitting here at work, just pissed off. I haven't seen much of my son this year and didn't get him for the summer, because of this damn virus. I found out at the end of September that my wife was cheating on me. I've spent most of my time doing the FBI thing, which has been a giant can of worms with no apparent bottom. I've had this nasty woman in my house, and I have to sit there and pretend that nothing is wrong. I want to throw everything at her and kick her out, but my lawyer just keeps telling me, not yet. I haven't slept in my bed in almost 2 months and plan to burn it when she's gone. I've had no intimacy, which has caused her to accuse me of cheating. If she tries to hug me or kiss me, I have to sit there and take it, even though it makes me want to vomit. When I look at her, I see bugs crawling all over her. I want her gone, but it's just not the right time yet. There's not much left on my fuse. It feels like being locked in a big room with someone, and there's just a table there. The room echoes as they start tapping on the table, and I just want to flip the table and strangle them. I can't even talk to anybody about it right now, because it's simply not yet. I'm angry at myself, and disappointed for putting myself in a position to let someone do this to me again. I just want this to be over, and I miss my son. Update 1. Some good news. I was Skyping with my son earlier when my ex-girlfriend wandered into the conversation. She told me I looked like crap, and I told her I was in a dark place, missing my son, and really having no one right now. She called me back a little later and asked me to come up for Thanksgiving, which I'm stoked about. I just have to fight with my wife about why I won't be going with her to her parents for the holiday. But I'm leaving at 3 a.m. for a long drive, and for those 4 days, I won't have to look at her. I haven't been in the same room with my kids since April, so I'm not passing this up. I arrived at my destination around 10:30 last night and called my ex-girlfriend to see if she was still up. She was cooking like mad for today. I told her I was there and sitting on her front porch, and her husband came and let me in. He doesn't look good. He's lost a lot of weight. Anyway, we sat at the kitchen table, and he told me I looked like crap too, and it wasn't just from driving for 19 hours. My ex-girlfriend said, "Spill," so I did. I told them everything. I started crying while I was telling them what was going on. I haven't cried since my cousin called me once to tell me my mother had passed away a month before that, which was 11 years ago. These were just frustrated tears, but it felt so good to finally talk to someone I didn't have to pay $1 zillion an hour to. We talked a little more about how they were doing not good, and they offered up their couch to me. I was woken up this morning by their 5-year-old daughter trying to suffocate me with a teddy bear. My son woke up a little later, and when he saw me, he yelled "Dad," and gave me a big hug. I really needed that, because last year he decided he was too big to give his old man a hug. They didn't tell him I was coming, so it was a surprise for him. I'm in a real good mood right now. I know it's temporary. I'm going to have to call my in-laws in a bit to apologize for not going to their home for the holiday. They're decent folks, and I feel bad that they don't know what's coming. Update 2. I'll also provide some background on my wife's browsing history. Yes, I am spying. She hasn't used Reddit in 6 months. Honestly, at this point, I don't even care. I'm just knuckling it right now. Anyone who has found out and said nothing until they served their cheating piece of crap, you have my admiration. This is freaking hard. I got home late Sunday. It was a 1,400-mile drive. This was good because I really didn't want to see her or talk to her. I was tired, went to my chair, and slept. I haven't slept well in 2 months, and I've lost 15 pounds. I look and feel like crap. But it was the first 8 hours of sleep I had gotten in a while. On Monday, my wife tried to initiate some intimacy, but I just cannot get it up for this woman. My mind is elsewhere. Before me every morning, this is nothing physical with me. It's just that, for once, my crap is in total agreement with my mind and heart. This upset her, and we got into a pretty heated argument. I told her maybe it was something wrong with me. I'm 50 years old, this crap happens. She started insinuating again that I'm cheating on her. She said that I'm not being a good husband, that I haven't loved her in over 2 months, And clearly, I must be doing something behind her back. She tried to gaslight me. Yeah, I was doing something behind her back. I was piecing everything. TOGETHERD, day for me, was September 25th. I work in collision repair, specifically on vehicles that are considered train wrecks. On September 25th, I wound up cutting my leg open on a truck I was working on, which led to a trip to the emergency room. I got 5 stitches inside my leg and 34 on the outside. It was pretty bad. I was put on some hefty painkillers, and there was no way I was going to drive, so I called my wife. No answer. I called 5 minutes later, still no answer. I called again, no answer. And then I texted her, "Babe, pick up, I need you." I called her, again still no answer. After an hour and a half of this, I got an Uber to take me home. As we turned onto my street and came into view of my house, I saw her standing in our doorway, completely sucking face with the GM of where she works. I told the driver to stop. This wasn't just a peck. They were swapping spit. She was supposed to be at work. I pulled out my phone, took a couple of pictures, and told the driver to keep driving. I had him take me back to work, and I sat there in the break room for 4 hours, head down on the table, numb and heartbroken. When the painkillers wore off, I drove home in pain from my leg and from everything going through my head. She wasn't home when I got there. She came home a couple of hours later, acting all concerned. Maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. I don't know. I asked how her day was, and she made up some crap about work. I knew it was crap. A week later, I learned for the first time that she hasn't worked a Friday in 3 years. I had never really used Reddit much. It was always there, but I had no real interest in it until then. I started looking for advice on dealing with cheaters, and this subreddit showed up along with YouTube videos. I read about all the red flags, and I just kept saying, "Yep, that fits her to a T. Always on the phone, always texting." For some reason, she couldn't answer my calls or texts. She had no idea until last Monday that I sat in the emergency room, trying to call her and texting her for 2 whole months. She had not looked at our chat log at all. She yelled at me that I needed to be a better husband, that I wasn't doing enough for her. I got so angry. I grabbed my phone, opened the chat log, and shoved it in her face. I showed her those unanswered texts. I rarely raise my voice, but I yelled at her that the one time I needed her to be there for me, I got ghosted. She pulled out her phone, looked at it, and then she left the house for a couple of hours. When she came back, she apologized and then lied right to my face, saying she had a hard day at work and didn't notice because she was so busy. The truth is, she didn't know about the calls and texts, because she was too busy cheating on me. In the time between that day and now, I've snooped on her phone, her laptop, her iPad, and learned I could look at all her stuff from one of her old phones. I've installed cameras in the house, and I've been watching her cheat on me in real time for 2 months. Let me tell you something. I've always thought Apple products are for idiots. They really are. Cheaters should probably start using Android or something, because Apple syncs across everything. I've learned she doesn't just dislike my son, she freaking hates that kid. Probably because him being at my house in the summer was cramping her style. I've learned this affair has been going on for years. It's not just her boss. One of the men she has been sleeping with is someone I have worked with and considered a friend for over 14 years. She works with his wife, who has been helping her hide the affair with her boss. They introduced me to her, they watched me propose to her, and they were at the wedding. They let me marry her. This woman knew she was cheating on me. I know of for men to, I know, and two, I don't. They've all slept in my bed, on my couch, on my kitchen table where I eat, and even in my shower. These idiots have used my soap to wash their effing balls. I went up to my property, where I hunt deer, to get away for just one weekend. I invited her, as I always do when I go anywhere, but she always declines. When I got back, I watched this parade of men go through my house and have sex with my wife. She didn't even bother to shower and clean herself off between the two of them. What a pig dot. Yeah. There's a camera in the bathroom too. The same thing happened when I went to Chicago for Thanksgiving. She spent the entire weekend with other men in my home, in my bed. For 2 months, I kept this to myself until I confided in my ex-girlfriend about what was going on. I'm wearing this calm mask, but I am inches from Hulk smash mode. I almost confronted her about her cheating, but I swallowed the lies she told me. I even apologized for the argument we had. I told her I would make an appointment with a doctor for my erectile dysfunction, and then I read her text to her boss calling me a limp D and saying she couldn't wait for Friday. This is not the woman I fell in love with 7 years ago. I'd like to say she's pure evil, but I think she's got severe mental health problems. She's certainly a sociopath. Whatever the case, I did not sign up for this. It was hard for me to ask her to marry me, especially after my first divorce. I had a hard time believing that anything nice a woman said to me was genuine. I chased off 2 fantastic women in my life because I was still messed up from what I went through after my first wife. I got abused in that divorce and walked away with only $43 in my pocket, no home, number car, no means to do my job, and no support. For my family, I had to couch surf for the next 3 years because everything I made went to alimony and paying off our debts. At 22 years old, my life was ruined before it even started. I spent my 24th birthday on a friend's couch, drunk with a gun in my mouth, crying like a baby because I didn't have the stones to go through with it. I saw no light at the end of the tunnel. Since that day, I've kept $43 in my wallet to remind me of the lowest I've ever been. I'm not saying that's where I am now, but I feel like I did back then. I'm wiser and have my life together this time, but you know, the first time I caught them in the act, I did it the old-fashioned way, came home early from a trip. The extent of the gaslighting was her saying it's not what it seems, and then screaming at me to stop as I beat the crap out of my brother and his friend. That hurt me in the divorce big time, but it was over, there was no denying it. All the therapy I've gone through feels wasted now. This time around, it's a slow process of deceit, holding everything in and just getting lied to all the time. Even when she doesn't need to lie, she lies. I feel that every time I blink, she's with some other guy. I no longer love this woman. Let's be clear, there will be no working this out. I've checked out. My anniversary is a day that will live in infamy, Pearl Harbor Day. I'm going to make sure she remembers it. But at the same time, I'm worn out. I have a constant headache. All the therapy I've gone through feels like it's gone. Update. I had her served yesterday. For those asking, I wasn't in a good state of mind to write about it yesterday, and I still really am not, but I will get this off my chest. I woke up and left the house. Got myself some breakfast while waiting for her to leave for work. Rented a truck, went back home, and changed the locks. My friend and his wife came over. He brought a friend, and we packed up her things. We loaded up our bedroom furniture that I got her as a wedding gift. My couch, my dining table, just all the furniture she defiled. We took it to storage and put all her clothes in garbage bags. I was going to throw her dirty clothes in with the clean ones, but my friend wouldn't let me. We finished after 11 a.m. Around lunchtime. I bought flowers and chocolates and went to her work. I gave her the flowers and candy, hugged her, and kissed her. She was all smiles and blushes. My coworkers were doing such sweet gestures, and I told her that I would love to take her to lunch. Unfortunately, I had to go get a checkup on my leg. I also asked her not to make any plans for the night, because I wanted to give her a night she would remember. I gave her a goodbye kiss, and started walking out. At this point, I'm going to start calling her GM effing Tom, or FT, as I was leaving. I saw her boss and gave him a big smile, saying, "Hey, effing Tom, how are you?" I waved and left. Then I went and got some lunch. At 2 p.m., a deputy would be walking into my wife's work to serve her. I was standing in front of FT's house and texted him the picture I took on the day I caught them. I took a selfie in front of his house and sent that to I. Knocked on the door, and Mrs. FT answered. She knows me a little from parties and events. My wife's work had I told her that my wife and her husband were having an affair, but she didn't believe me. I showed her the first picture I took and a selfie they took while my wife was giving him a BJ on my couch, and she slapped me. I just stood there while she started crying. I gave her a thumb drive with everything pertaining to my wife and her husband that I had. I told her my wife was cheating on me with multiple men, and advised her to get checked for STDs. I also gave her my lawyer's card and my number. Then she asked me why I was doing this to her. Honestly, I felt like the biggest piece of crap for hurting her like that. I told her she had a right to know, but I felt like an idiot for giving her that answer. As I was leaving, that's when my phone started blowing up. I didn't answer any calls or texts. I just went home. When I got home, I changed my Facebook status to divorced. I started reading the texts from my wife, who was furious, asking, "What the F is this? What are you doing?" I messaged her back, telling her she could come to the house at 7 p.m. to get her clothes, but not 1 minute before. Apparently, FT didn't tell her what I did right away, as I imagined he had his own problems at the moment. My wife sent me a text later, mother-rearing me up and down for telling Mrs. FT. Then my friend, who had covered up for my wife, let's call her Amber, started calling me. I answered and asked, "How long have you known that my wife and FT were having an affair? Please don't lie to me." She told me what I suspected all along, that she had known since before my wife and I met. My whole marriage turned out to be a sick joke. Let me tell you, that was a bitter pill to swallow. I asked her why she didn't tell me, and she said, it was because they thought I would get violent. I told her she knew me better than that. She said she kept it secret because she was her friend. What about me? Wasn't I a friend too? I asked her if the roles were reversed, wouldn't she want me to tell her? She said yes, so I hung up and sent her pictures my wife had taken of her and her husband. I texted her back with my lawyer's number and said that my lawyer has everything I know, then told her never to contact me again. Around 4 p.m., my wife showed up at the house and found out about the locks. She started banging on the door and yelling, but I didn't answer. She tried calling again, so I turned my ringer off. Then she broke a window and left. At close to 7 p.m., 2 deputies parked out front. One of them was one of the people who helped me move stuff earlier. His wife showed up too, along with my friend. When 7 p.m. rolled around, my wife showed up. She looked pretty subdued. I was pretty sure she and Amber had gotten into it by then. I gave her her clothes, the storage key, the address, and my lawyer's card, telling her that all contact with me will be through her. My wife started with the "I love you" crap, saying we could work this out, that she was sorry, that she loved me, that it was a mistake, and that she didn't love him. I just pointed at my lawyer's card. She said that it was her house too, and that I couldn't kick her out. I told her it was my home, and that she literally effed herself out of it. When she got really loud, all the "I love yous" turned into "F yous" and "I hate yous." The deputies turned on their lights, and neighbors came out to gawk at the train wreck. I remained fairly calm, keeping my hands at my side while she kept screaming at me. I think she might have been drinking. She started crying, saying she had nowhere to go, and when I told her that I didn't care, I learned something new about my wife. She can throw a right hook. She gave me a fat lip and a bloody nose. I didn't move. I just stood there and let her do it. She tried scratching my face, but the deputies restrained her. I declined to press charges and told them to just make her leave. They filed an incident report so I could get a temporary restraining order. Actually, I'm glad she did that. When she left, I went back inside, and while I was cleaning myself up, all the feelings I should have been experiencing for the last 2 months hit me. I'm pretty exhausted right now. I thought I'd feel better after this all came out, but I don't. I feel awful. I'm not someone prone to crying, but I've been doing a lot of that since last night. There are almost 600 unanswered texts and calls on my phone, and it's growing. I'm going no contact with our mutual friends. I don't want any of them trying to mediate things. I'll sort them out some other time. I didn't call my son last night. I've always called him every night. I'll tell him tonight. He probably won't be upset by the news he wasn't fond of her. For those asking, they have both been fired. Amber raised hell at work, but I didn't need to make a stink about anything. Soon-to-be ex-wife is living with her parents. I don't know what FT and Mrs. FT are doing. I was told it is none of my business. I think he is trying to stay married, and if he does, I may have to give him a beating. I asked if there was anything else I ought to know, and she told me she got an abortion. Years ago, she didn't even know who the father was. Wow, what a low blow. In the beginning, we tried to have a kid, but we decided to quit trying and just enjoy the process. I would have loved to have another child. Like a daughter I could spoil rotten. I had unprotected sex with my wife nearly every day, so there's a huge chance this kid was mine, and I will never know. This was enough for me to get up and walk out. You can talk about dodging a bullet, but I'm just thinking she killed my child. If anyone here has ever done boxing, there's a point where the punches just keep coming, but you don't feel them. I mean, they do damage, but they don't hurt like the first few punches. You get numb to it. This is where I am right now. She could tell me she started the Chicago fire, and I wouldn't be surprised. I called my lawyers back and told mine to go to Plan B. Plan B was that I took my demand for alimony off the table. I want the divorce agreement to be uncontested and signed. That's the fastest way to move forward. I wanted to say that one condition for reconciliation was for her to unfollow all those other men, something impossible. But there's no point in being clever here. I ain't going to lie. The abortion has me rattled. I don't want a monthly reminder of this woman, even in the form of a paycheck. So at 5:43 p.m., she signed. In around 2 months it will be official. I keep my house, my retirement funds, all my property, no alimony for either of us. She gets $73,000 from our savings and is not to contact me ever again. We are done. I do not care what happens to her now. I don't want to know what she'll do. For her own good, and anyone she meets in the future, I hope she goes to a shrink. But I am done giving a crap about her. I don't feel like a weight has been lifted off me. I've eaten a crap sandwich, and this is all I can taste. I've had nothing to be happy about for 3 months, and I am not happy now. I don't see that in my future at all. That abortion has been on my mind since she mentioned it, and I think it's going to be there for a long time. I don't know what I'm going to do in the immediate future or long term. Maybe when this is all finalized, I'll feel some kind of release. I don't know right now. I just want to be left alone. No more. I'm sorry to hear that, or any of this. Right now, I just want quiet. This whole time, I've been thinking about everything I've ever done. And I don't see anywhere I've done right, just where I've gone wrong. I know this is an awful mindset to have, but it's what I'm left with. All I can say is that, at least I got to keep my stuff this time, but I won't be doing this again. Update. This may sound dumb, but any tips on getting a ring off my finger? I like to play guitar, so I'd like to keep all my fingers. This thing has been on my hand for 6 years. I've tried olive oil, Crisco, butter, hot water, motor oil, and WD-40. I'm starting to look at tools. I don't want to wear this thing any longer. I want to have 10 digits when it comes off. The divorce isn't finalized yet, and the empty house has been getting to me. I ended up moving a new girl in. She's the cutest little Latina I've ever seen, about 8 inches tall, weighs 5 pounds, and has an underbite. I'm torn between calling her Maggie or high fructose corn syrup because she's so sweet. I picked up a 1-year-old Chihuahua from the pound. I just needed someone happy to see me when I get home. I found her decree showed up in the mail today. Oddly, I'm not happy or sad about this. Some friends wanted to celebrate, but I've never felt failure as a cause to celebrate. Actually, I'm a bit numb. I'm sure it'll hit me later. Out of left field, she called me today. I picked up, figuring what's done is done, so I talked to her. She messed up more than I did. She didn't apologize. She asked what good that would do. I honestly don't know if she really regrets what she did to me, but it really doesn't matter now. Her folks, this is tough. My son is as close to having a grandchild as they've ever got. He asked me if it's okay to communicate with them. I'm fine with that, but how do I talk to them without her being in the conversation? These people just wreck everything, don't they? I really liked her dad. They are as close to having relatives from my side of the family that my son will ever have. Also, my Chichi, I've named her Dulcie. Thank you to whoever suggested that name. It really rolls off the tongue. She kept me warm through snow Magedon 5 days with no power or heat and below freezing temperatures. She kept the bed warm, like a little trooper. I may take a long break from here, maybe until I feel like dating or fishing for something casual. I've always had that doubt in the back of my head. She doesn't love me, she'll leave, she'll break me. It's screaming at me right now, but right now, I'm good. That fear of stove burners is a good thing. I need a lot of time. I'm going to give myself that. I wish you all the best. Just because we've been crapped on doesn't mean we are crap. Stay strong. I love all of you. Update 6. I started therapy in July, and I'm dealing with a lot of things in it. This latest round of talking about it with you and my therapist has brought up issues that are related and yet unrelated. To put it bluntly, I want to reconcile with my sister. She is all I have left. I honestly wonder if I have the guts to do it, because I've held a grudge for so long. I want my son to know family members from my side who are actually related by blood. Not just my friends that he calls uncle or aunt. This is something my first round of therapy has cost me. I want some things back, and if she's willing to talk to me, then I'll talk to her. I'm pretty sure my cousin will facilitate this. I know I advocate for dumping everyone who won't back you, but it has been nearly 3 decades. My parents are dead, my brother is dead, and there's just my sister left. My therapist is on board with this. I just need to work up the guts to extend the olive branch. I don't want to hold a grudge forever. I believe I was right to cut ties with them all, but I don't want this anymore. I have custody of my son indefinitely, and I'd like to be able to give him some semblance of normal. I don't miss my ex or my first ex. I do miss my sister. I have let my first wife dictate all of my relationships for far too long. Sometimes, I just feel haunted. I believe it will be a good thing. Maybe if I get back some of what I lost, I will be able to move forward. I'm not hung up on my ex, but I am hung up on my past. And for those who want to know, no, I don't know how she is doing. I don't talk to her. No, I don't know how Amber is doing. She's been bleached out of my life, like the crap stain in a pair of tidy whities. I don't know how the others are doing. I have only one care to give about all of those people, but it's the only care I have, and I don't feel like parting with it. Update 7. In 1 hour, it will be exactly 1 year since I served my ex with the walking papers. I woke up in a good mood, went for a run, made my boy breakfast, and went to work. The day was going well, and there were no issues with me mentally. Then, at 10:30 a.m., I got a call up to the office. There was a delivery of cookies for me from the ex, just like she does every year. I told the folks in the office they could have them. Our CSR asked who the cookies were from. So I told her no one's touched them yet. I'm a little pissed that someone told her where I work now. But other than that, I'm still in a fairly decent mood. She's got other methods of prodding at me too. Let me know she's out there. Her favorite is to be late on her car payment, so the finance company calls me. I guess this is one more edit. I came home to a surprise party, greeted with barbecue and beer. I love my friends. They thought I might need cheering up, but honestly, aside from the cookies, my day was pretty good. This was just a great end to the day.